Have you ever wondered why some men seem to draw women in effortlessly, while others, no matter how kind or successful they are, remain invisible? I've spent over a decade in medicine sitting across from men who quietly ask me the same heartbreaking question, "Doctor, what's wrong with me? Why don't women see me the same way anymore?" And every time I heard that, I realized it's not vanity. It's biology, psychology, and something far deeper than we've been told. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: attraction isn't random. It's coded into the human body. And the signals your body sends can either pull someone closer or push them away before you even speak a word. Most men don't realize how much their posture, muscle tone, or even subtle changes in their waistline silently communicate about their health, their confidence, and yes, their desirability. As a urologist and pelvic surgeon, I've seen this pattern again and again in my patients. Men who lost strength didn't just lose muscle, they lost energy drive and the spark that once made them magnetic. But what if I told you that same spark can be reignited not through money or looks, but through science-backed changes that rebuild your strength from the inside out? Because attraction, gentlemen, isn't luck. It's physiology, and once you understand it, you can reclaim it. When I first read the data, I was stunned. For years, we've been told that women are drawn to height, facial symmetry, or even wealth, but science paints a different picture. In one large-scale study conducted by Griffith University and California State University, researchers analyzed hundreds of male photographs. These weren't polished Instagram shots. They were standardized clinical images, shirtless, full body and upper body shots in tank tops, with faces hidden to remove bias. Then something fascinating happened. Women were asked to rate two things separately: how strong each man looked and how attractive he appeared. What emerged from the data was crystal clear. The single strongest predictor of male attractiveness wasn't height, money, or even leanness. It was perceived upper body strength. That means how powerful your shoulders look, how developed your chest is, and how defined your arms appear. All these visual cues together explained over 70% of how attractive women found a man's body. To put it simply, when women see strength, they see vitality, safety, and confidence long before they even know your name. And here's what's even more shocking. When researchers accounted for height, it explained only about 10% of attractiveness. In other words, a shorter man who looked strong was rated significantly more attractive than a taller man who appeared weak. Strength didn't just compensate, it dominated. From a medical and evolutionary standpoint, this makes perfect sense. Strength isn't just about lifting weights. It's a primal signal. For thousands of years, it meant protection, survival, and resilience. When a woman subconsciously senses upper body power, her brain reads it as a marker of good genes, stable hormones, and functional health. But here's the twist I find most powerful. In my own clinical practice, I've seen this reflected not only in dating, but in health outcomes. Men who maintain their muscle mass into their 50s and 60s don't just look better. They age slower, have better testosterone balance, sharper focus, and even report higher confidence and satisfaction in relationships. It's not vanity. It's biology rewarding strength. Now, before you rush to the gym, let me tell you something crucial. Because strength isn't just about bulk or size. It's about proportion, posture, and the subtle symmetry that communicates power without aggression. And that leads us directly to something even more fascinating: the shape that silently defines how attractive a man appears the moment he walks into a room. You see, strength isn't just about how much you can lift. It's also about how your body speaks before you ever open your mouth. One of the most powerful signals the human eye picks up almost instantly is the V-shape silhouette. Broad shoulders, tapering down to a narrow waist. It's simple, primal, and yet incredibly telling. In another study, researchers measured men's shoulder-to-waist ratios, not biceps, not height, not abs, just proportion. And they discovered that men with wider shoulders and smaller waists were rated consistently more attractive even when their overall body weight was the same. Why? Because that shape is nature's shortcut for strength and vitality. From a biological standpoint that V says everything, wide shoulders suggest higher testosterone levels and strong upper body development. A smaller waist hints at lower visceral fat, better metabolic health, and fewer risks of chronic diseases like diabetes or heart failure. In other words, a well-defined V shape doesn't just look healthy, it is healthy. When I examine my patients, I often notice that those who naturally or intentionally build toward that shape not only have better hormonal profiles, but also carry themselves differently. Their posture improves, their breathing deepens, and there's an ease in their movement that radiates quiet confidence. It's the kind of presence that doesn't need to shout to be noticed. It commands attention naturally. Now, I'm not saying you need to look like a fitness model. What matters is the ratio, not perfection. Even small changes, a few inches off the waist, a bit more strength across the shoulders, can dramatically shift how your body is perceived. Remember, attraction isn't just visual, it's instinctive. Our brains have been wired over millennia to interpret shape as a signal of survival and strength. And that brings me to something few people talk about. Attraction isn't one size fits all. What women look for physically can actually change depending on what kind of connection they're seeking. Short-term excitement or long-term trust, the science behind that is just as fascinating. Here's where things get really fascinating. The V shape and strength we just talked about, they don't just signal health or masculinity. They also trigger something much deeper in the female brain, and that response actually changes depending on the type of relationship she's seeking. In studies published by evolutionary psychologists, women were asked to rate their ideal partners for two different scenarios: short-term attraction versus long-term partnership. The results were striking. When imagining short-term connections, think excitement chemistry, physical spark women consistently prioritize traits like muscularity, strength, and height. In fact, they devoted nearly 40% of their attraction budget to those visual, physical markers. In that context, physical dominance becomes magnetic. It represents thrill protection and high genetic quality, the same instincts that once helped humans survive in unpredictable environments. But when the same women were asked to choose for a long-term partner, everything shifted. Suddenly, emotional stability, kindness, reliability, and resource potential climbed to the top of the list. Muscularity didn't disappear. It simply took its place within a bigger picture of safety and trust. The preference for strength softened, blending with deeper qualities that signal commitment and stability. From a clinical standpoint, I've seen this play out countless times in conversations with my patients. Men often come to me frustrated saying, "Doctor, I got in great shape. Why am I still single?" And I explain that attraction isn't static. Physical appeal might open the door, but emotional presence is what keeps someone there. The body draws attention, the mind earns connection. It's an incredible reminder that biology and emotion are partners, not enemies. The same testosterone that builds your muscle also affects your mood, patience, and empathy traits that women instinctively read as strength of character, not just strength of body. But here's where it all comes full circle, because the very habits that build physical strength also boost emotional stability. Your regular exercise, balanced hormones, proper sleep, these don't just change your physique. They rewire your brain chemistry toward confidence and calm. And that's why, in the next part, I'll show you how physical health and attractiveness aren't two separate goals. They're the same path leading to the same destination: longevity, vitality, and the power to connect deeply. You see, the story doesn't end with attraction. What truly amazes me as both a doctor and a researcher is that the very traits women find attractive are the same traits that predict long-term health, vitality, and even lifespan. That's not coincidence. That's biology rewarding balance. When I look at my male patients who maintain strong upper bodies, steady muscle tone, and low visceral fat, I see more than aesthetics. I see data. These men often have better cardiovascular endurance, stronger bones, healthier testosterone levels, and improved insulin sensitivity. Their lab results show lower inflammation markers, better lipid panels, and in many cases, sharper cognitive performance. In medical terms, strength is one of the most reliable predictors of overall longevity. And this isn't just theory. Studies from institutions like Harvard and the Mayo Clinic confirm it. Men with higher grip strength and functional muscle mass are less likely to develop chronic diseases and even less likely to die prematurely. Muscle isn't vanity. It's protection. It's your body's armor against time. What's even more inspiring is that the same training that builds that strength compound movements like pull-ups, rows, and presses don't just sculpt your body. They reprogram your entire system. They boost blood flow, regulate blood sugar, enhance hormone function, and even elevate mood by releasing endorphins and dopamine. You're not just building a physique, you're rebuilding your biology. And when patients realize this, something changes in their eyes. It's no longer about impressing someone else. It's about reclaiming control over their own energy and confidence. Attraction becomes a byproduct of vitality. You start to move differently, speak differently, live differently. That kind of strength doesn't fade with age. It evolves. But here's the thought I want to leave you with before we wrap up. If the science of attraction and health are really two sides of the same coin, then the next question isn't, how do I look better? It's, how do I live stronger? Because when you answer that, everything else, your relationships, your confidence, even your future begins to change. After years of listening to my patients, I've learned something powerful. When men start working on their bodies, they often discover much more than muscle. They rediscover themselves. It's as if every rep, every disciplined meal, every early morning workout rewires a message inside their brain: I'm capable again. That's not just physical progress, that's identity repair. One of my patients once told me, "Doctor, I didn't realize how much I missed feeling proud of myself." And that hit me hard, because that's what this is truly about. Attraction, confidence, and health, they're all connected through one word: self-worth. When you strengthen your body, you remind your mind that you still have control, you still have power, you still matter. And that radiates far beyond how you look. It changes how the world responds to you. From a medical lens, this isn't just motivational talk. Exercise triggers cascades of biochemical reactions: more dopamine, more serotonin, more growth hormone, more testosterone, all of which reshape not only your body, but your emotional landscape. You don't just become fitter. You become more emotionally resilient, more grounded, more magnetic without even trying. That's why I always tell my patients, the most attractive thing a man can have isn't a perfect body. It's momentum. When your actions align with your health, your posture changes, your energy shifts, and people can feel that from across the room. Real strength can't be faked. It's the quiet confidence that shows up in how you carry yourself, not how much you lift. And the beauty of it all, it's never too late. I've seen men in their 50s and 60s rebuild their vitality from the ground up, regaining not only their health, but their spark for life. The same body that once betrayed them became their greatest ally. Because when you start choosing strength, everything else follows: energy, attraction, purpose, and connection. But before we close, let me leave you with one final truth, one that ties all of this together from science to emotion. Because the real magic happens when you stop chasing attraction and start living it. So remember, real attraction isn't built in the mirror. It's built in your habits, your health, and the way you carry yourself every single day. When you work on your strength, you're not just shaping your body, you're protecting your heart, balancing your hormones, and reclaiming the energy that life may have slowly taken from you. Every rep, every healthy choice, every small win matters more than you think. As a doctor, I've seen men transform not just their appearance, but their confidence, their relationships, even their outlook on life, simply by choosing to take care of themselves. And I want that same transformation for you. Because your health isn't just about numbers or muscles. It's about the life you still have ahead and the people who love you enough to want you here for it. If today's video opened your eyes or inspired you, even a little, don't let it stop here. Save this video as a reminder of what's possible. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and stay with us because every week we share the latest medical insights and practical advice to help men like you protect your strength, your confidence, and your vitality. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one small change you're going to start today to take back your health and your energy? Tell me in the comments because your story might be the spark that helps another man do the same.